even have a chance for introductions here, Rock, on this match. Texas Tornado Rules, the Deep South Tag Team Champions, the Masked Nightmares against the Rock and Roll Rebels. And, of course, Texas Tornado Rules simply means that all 4 men will be in the ring at the same time. And you've really got to plot a different type of strategy for this type of match, Rock, I would imagine, because you've got all 4 men in the ring at the same time. And if you're in there on 1 man and something should happen to your partner, you've got to watch your back because you know that other guy is going to come nail you from behind.
That's about as well as it can be explained, Nick, but I'll say one thing. These teams have gone toe-to-toe and foot-to-foot, nose-to-nose, eyeball-to-eyeball so many times that they weren't waiting for anything. Each team wants the advantage. Each team wants to try to gain that victory as quickly as possible because these tornado matches are very dangerous matches.
And here's the classic example. John Michaels is down, and both Nightmares double teaming on Greg Evans. John Michaels back up. Ooh. And Nightmare number 2 cut him off. Now Nightmare number 1 is on him. The Nightmares spoke to me earlier before this match, and they corrected me. It appears that in the past weeks I have been announcing them as the wrong person. So in other words, the Nightmare that is with Greg Evans at this point, I believe, yes, he is Nightmare number 2, and the Nightmare that's with John Michaels is Nightmare number 1. I hope I got that right.
Well, Nick, I just wonder if at some time in some match that they didn't want their identity known specifically, if they would be upset if you did identify them again.
I think they switched on me just to confuse me. Right now, the Nightmares in control of the match. Both of the Rock and Roll Rebels are in trouble. Nightmare number 2 hooks Greg Evans. Nightmare number 1 nails him with a gut shot, an elbow behind the head. And you know, these 2 Masked Nightmares, they are double tough customers. They're excellent wrestlers. They work together perfectly as a team, or as near perfectly as you can get. And when it comes down to brawling and getting nasty, they don't mind doing that either.
They certainly don't, and that's why they're a top tag team combination. I was talking to some other wrestlers in the dressing room tonight, and the general consensus of opinion is that you couldn't find a better tag team combination anywhere in the country than the Masked Nightmares.
Well, they are presently the Deep South Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, and they have been beat a few times, but they've always managed to land on their feet, and they've always managed to regain their titles. Whoa! Rock and Roll Rebel Greg Evans come in with a fine sunset flip, almost pulled Nightmare number 1 over. Nightmare number 2 come over and made a save.
And it's that same type of quick reaction that makes them a top tag team combination.
I tell you, I would match these Masked Nightmares against any team in the world, and I'd hate to bet against them. But I think they're going to have their hands full right here. The Rock and Roll Rebels haven't been together as a team as long as the Nightmares, but in the time that they have been together as a team, they have formed a style that has brought them right up to the top ranks and top contenders. And Rock and Roll Rebel Greg Evans come off the second rope with a big elbow, and the Masked Nightmare number 1 moves out of the way on that one, and whoa! And he went for an elbow, and Greg Evans moves out of the way. The Nightmare goes to slam Greg Evans, falls back with him. Ooh, a 2 count. That was very close. Nightmare number 2 fires John Michaels out onto the floor. Now it's both Nightmares once again in the ring against Greg Evans. Oh, double boot. This is a very dangerous type of match. As I said, something happens to your partner, you've got 2 men to fight.
And definitely we don't award points in professional wrestling, Nick, but I think if we did, at this point, the Nightmares would be in control of the situation by a wide margin.
A very wide margin. They are in control, and I think that experience together as a team, that edge of experience is what's giving them the edge right now. John Michaels being choked by Nightmare number 1. Nightmare number 2 fires Greg Evans in, catches him with a big double chop. You know, it's hard to cover all this action, Rock. You've got all 4 men in the ring at the same time. There's a lot of things going on in the ring. And if you think it's hard for us to cover it at the table, you ought to try being the referee out there.
The closer you are to the forest, the harder it is to see the trees, and I think that's the trouble the referee has right now.
Greg Evans down. John Michaels up at this point. Fired off of the ropes. And there's a small package. This could be it. 1, 2. No, sir. No, sir. Nightmare number 2 aware of what was going on.
And that's that quick reaction again that makes them such a great combination.
Ooh, the Nightmare off the second rope onto John Michaels. And this could be it for the Rock and Roll Rebels. There's a count, 2. Whoa! Let's look. No. The referee signals.
That was as close as you can get to a 3 count and still not get that 3 count, Nick.
Look at this now, the Rock and Roll Rebels. They have found a new spark, and Greg Evans is turning it on. The Nightmare number 2. He beels him out of that corner. Now John Michaels wailing on the head of Nightmare number 1. Goes to beel him out of the corner. His partner was over there in the way. He'd have thrown him right on his partner. He had to stop, and now they've cut Greg Evans off, and both of them double up on John Michaels once again. Have to hand it to the Nightmares. A slow, beautiful move by John Michaels. Both Nightmares come charging in. Michaels ducks out of the way. There's a cover, 1, 2. Oh, so close. So close. What an even-fought battle now. You know, at first of the match, it looked as if the Nightmares had full control, but these Rebels are really starting to make a move. And they have come so close to pinning the Nightmares on about 3 or 4 different occasions.
Well, they're going for pins, and I'm talking about the Rock and Roll Rebels, but the Nightmares are going for hurts, and that makes a little difference at this point.
Right now, Nightmare number 2 putting some of the hurts on Greg Evans. John Michaels drops behind Nightmare number 1, hits him with a beautiful roll-up. There's a 2. Oh, I thought that might have been 3, but it wasn't. It was 2, and once again, Nightmare number 1 has come over, or Nightmare number 2, pardon me, has come over and saved Nightmare number 1 from a very, very close pinfall. Now it looks as if Nightmare 1 and John Michaels are both showing signs of fatigue. Nightmare number 2 suplexes Greg Evans and goes for the cover. 1, 2, no sir, John Michaels right there with a boot to the head. I tell you what, to score a pinfall on a team, you really have to pretty much beat them way, way down. You've got to really have them worn out, because his partner's going to be coming right over at you. There's another pin. There's a 2 count. Nightmare number 1 very close on Greg Evans. Nightmare number 2 gives him a big boot. Looks like he almost caught him with a knee right in the rib cage of Greg Evans. Uh-oh, the Nightmares have the Rock and Roll Rebels in opposite corners and fire them off together, and the Rebels are down and in big trouble. The Nightmares right now very confident and in full control. The fans here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, starting to get behind the Rock and Roll Rebels. Greg Evans scooting around the ring, trying to get his wind up off that second rope, and he come down with a big punch. And now Greg Evans has reached way down inside and is starting to fire it up. John Michaels, oh, wait a minute. John Michaels catches one Nightmare with a clothesline, and on the other side, the other Nightmare cuts Greg Evans off, slings him out onto the floor. The referee makes a count, however, the Nightmare gets his leg over the ropes. Over on the floor, good camera shot of Greg Evans and Nightmare number 2. Nightmare number 2 punishing Greg Evans on the floor. Big forearms across the back and into the kidney area.
And now John Michaels is going for the mask of the other Nightmare.
Inside the ring, John Michaels may have the mask. Oh, no, the Nightmare comes over. Nightmare number 2 comes over and saves his partner. We might have seen who one of the Nightmares was had Greg Evans been able to contain that one Nightmare, but Greg is out on the floor, and he is hurt. And now John Michaels is on the floor. We've got all 4 men on the ring. Thank goodness we've got a camera mounted way up to catch all the action. Here's another shot of Greg Evans. And it looks as if Nightmare number 1 has got a folded chair. Oh, right across the back of John Michaels on the floor with that folded chair. This could be it for John Michaels. Greg Evans in big trouble. The Nightmare side headlocks him. He looks like he's going to try to bulldog him into the corner post, and it backfired. Rock and Roll Rebel Greg Evans pushes the Nightmare number 2 off into the corner post, and he gets a chair of his own. Nightmare number 1 in the ring with John Michaels. It looks as if he's going to set him for a suplex. Ooh, Greg Evans catches him right across the kidneys with a chair. 3 count. There's a 3 count. And the Rock and Roll Rebels have just defeated the Deep South Tag Team Champions in a Texas Tornado match. What action, Rock, and it looks as if the Rebels may pay the price for their victory right now. Whoa, the Nightmares opening up. Look at this, Rock. Fires Evans in, double
clothesline. And they meant to take his head off with that.
I think they're going to try and eliminate the team of the Rock and Roll Rebels as a threat to their title altogether. They're making the attempt.
Double sweep.
Oh!
A double Russian sweep.
This is good. Oh, we may have to get some help out here for the Rock and Roll Rebels. Oh, no. They've got the chair set. They're going to go for the pile driver. Nightmare number 2 has Michaels set for the pile driver. Nightmare number 1 off the ropes, comes down. They spike him. They spike him onto that chair. And John Michaels is down. It looks as if he may be bleeding from the head. He's been spiked onto a chair. And there, Mike Atkins, the referee, slung out onto the floor, and he may need a stretcher. Rock and Roll Rebel Greg Evans from the floor. It comes in with a chair. The Nightmares see it. They take off, but not before the damage has been done. I tell you what, an excellent victory here for the Rock and Roll Rebels, but Rock, boy, did they ever pay the price for that.
The referee's still down outside the ring. Now, here come some of the other wrestlers out. The assistant coordinator, Bill Newman.
The other referee, Larry Harmon, he may have to finish up here. Mike Atkins, I mean, they slung him out of the way. An excellent victory. You see the hand raised of the Rock and Roll Rebels. But that's not the issue at this point. I'm sure they just earned themselves a title shot by beating the Nightmares in this Texas Tornado match. But they sure paid the price for it.